Hi guys, welcome to this channel. In this video, I'm going to show you why N8n has become one of the most important and one of the most influential AI automation workflows that everybody's been using to sell AI automation workflows for small to mid-sized businesses, and why you need to start learning this tool before it's too late. A little bit about myself. My name is Serob. I'm an AI engineer with almost 5+ years now of experience building actually custom AI automation software for people. And recently, after looking at all these AI automation tools, I was very curious in exploring these things and how they can automate my workflow. And I've noticed like a massive increase in efficiency. And that's why I decided to start this channel, because I'm a big believer in N8n. And I think it is the future of these AI automation workflows. With that being said, let's jump and check out why N8n has become so popular recently. So if we look here at the N8n website, the first thing that we can notice is that their full idea why they became so popular is the very easy integration of these AI agents. And if you don't know what AI agents are, they are basically like ChatGPT, LLM models, but they can do way more different things. So an agent basically from its core has a couple of different things. Let's find one where we can have a good example. This is, for example, a good example of an AI agent. It has like an LLM model as the brain. This is like the main brain that it has. And what makes it special, it has access to different tools. Usually these tools are like APIs. They can call our Google Calendar, for example. They can do different things. Let's take to here this example. They can have access to our Gmails, call it like on demand. That's what makes them super powerful. They can now do things on our behalf that are connected to our daily life tools that we use. So it became super popular because I think these are one of the first ones who actually made it so accessible and so easy to create. There's are other companies that do these kind of things. You might heard of make.com, and you might heard of also Relevance AI. There's a lot of different companies that are trying to do basically the same thing. N8n seems to be super popular, and I'm going to show you why, according to my opinion, of course. One of the first things is that what you look at, of course, it has like a lot of plugin integrations to many different tools. The only competitor here that has equally good tools integration, and I would have to say also a little bit better user experience, is make.com. Is actually super powerful. It has integration with LinkedIn. It has integration with Reddit, with like anything that you can imagine, and their API actually works. With N8n, the little bit downside that I noticed is that some of these tools are not so robust. For example, I've been struggling with Reddit recently. I've been struggling with LinkedIn. There are some limitations of what you can do. For example, posting like a LinkedIn video automatically. I have to go to make.com to post it. But you get like this really cool agent functionality in N8n. But I also heard now that make.com is also building their own AI agent solution. So the competition is very fierce between these tools. Whether it makes sense to learn a new tool or keep what you have, like let's say you're a make.com expert and you don't want to learn N8n, maybe it makes sense to stick to make.com and just hope they're going to be building these AI agents, which I'm sure everybody is going to be approaching this very soon. But regarding Europe, if you're based in Europe, then this would be very important for you. So the reason why I choose N8n as my AI automation product to sell to companies in Europe and basically in Germany is that they are based in Berlin. So my agency is based in Berlin, and I've been selling solutions to German companies. And as you know, like data security, GDPR, all this kind of stuff is a very important topics. And all the other AI automation tools as of now are based, the ones that are like the very popular one, make.com, all these kind of stuff, they are based in the US. And there's this rule that you cannot just send data and process data outside of Europe, especially if it's like personal identifying data. Disclaimer, this is not like a legal advice, so make sure to do the research. But the nice part here, if you process data using them, then at least you have less headache that you're using like a German-based company. So it's governed by all the data security that the European are posing on these companies. So that's why I'm choosing these. And then when you sell this and you say to also the businesses like, hey, this is actually based in Berlin, they have automatically trust, and it's a much easier sell too. The headache is the LLMs. So you need to find a way not to send your data to, for example, OpenAI that they process in the US. but there are ways to make sure that you're compliant that I'm going to share with you in the future. So stay tuned. So this is for me like the second reason why I chose them. The third reason that I think is very important to distinguish between N8n and Make.com is the pricing strategy. So N8n decided to do a pricing strategy that is based on execution, and it's a workflow execution. So not just a single execution similar to Make.com. Let me show you what I mean. So an execution is basically something that you run in production. So something that gets triggered automatically. So if you do here test the workflow, even though this will process some data and do some stuff, it will not count as an execution as far as I know. Actually, let's test it. So it will do like some things, blah, blah, blah. And then let me see my dashboard. Do I have now an increase in executions? So here it is counted, but the actual execution counters, as a paid member, you have like 2,500, I think, executions per month. Let's run this again. Let's see if this would count as an execution. Here we're like looping and doing so many different things. The idea here is to like scrape LinkedIn profiles using Google search. I can show you this example in the future. And as you see here, we are still at 271. So these tests, although they actually generate data for you and do stuff for you, they don't count it as execution. So you can actually have a lot more executions, like especially if you're doing scraping and stuff, all for free. You only pay for like obviously the APIs and stuff. So this is like a massive, massive advantage. Once you activate this, so for example, something that is triggered by a click, you cannot activate. You can activate only stuff that are on a schedule, that are listening to some sort of a webhook that you want it to be there. Then you have like five active workflows limit for like the basic. Let's have a look like here, like this basic pricing bill. You have like 5 active workflows and you get like 2,500 workflow executions, which I think is very generous for 20 euros. Like as a business owner, usually I don't even have any more executions more than 2,500. The only exceptions would be if you have a lot of traffic and you build a chatbot that is on your website. So each website visit acts as an execution. And if you have like 2,000 visits or users on your website, then it gets, yeah, you need to maybe upgrade to a 50 per month, or maybe contact them if you have like very strict, or maybe choose a different chatbot builder. I don't know. Yeah, this is compared to Make.com. Make.com, you pay per operation. So if something causes multiple operations, like you have a loop or something, you're paying for each iteration. So for example, here we ran, 3 times. You'll be paying, or this would cost you 3 operations in Make.com. So the price difference is extraordinary, especially if you're doing a lot of things with scraping, a lot of things with like automations, then definitely N8n makes a lot of sense. So this is regarding pricing. I've seen something online that I would love for the people to not do. There's a big community now, especially on Reddit or also YouTube, advertising that you can host this by yourself. So I've seen them using like a hosting or maybe Google Cloud or anything. And then you, because this is an open source tool, right? You can definitely host it. So you have the whole thing. You don't even have to pay the 20. You can pay, I think, for the hosting, depending on what you choose. If you have like a Google Cloud hosting platform, you pay obviously per usage, and it's definitely much cheaper. Like you don't pay 20, you maybe pay 5. Some people pay 7, and they are doing it for this simplicity. What I would discourage people to do is self-hosting means you also need to handle security, you need to handle everything. And as you see here, we have a lot of stuff that is including credentials, including secrets. So you need to really handle this data very, very well and make sure that this data doesn't get leaked, make sure that the encryption is very well done, the authentication is very well done. So it's not as easy. It's definitely not as easy. I have to say that especially it seems that the people who are hosting it are the people who are less tech savvy, and this is something I would definitely not recommend for businesses. The other thing that I saw is a lot of businesses, at least in Germany, they are hosting these things because they want full control over the LLM. So usually what you see, they create like a workflow and they connect it to like a local LLM, right? Because you don't want to send your data to Europe and you want it GDPR compliant and all this stuff. This definitely works. You don't send data to Europe, you don't send data to the US, but then you are also have to handle everything. And if you're not really tech savvy, I would say, or like an engineer with like production ready knowledge, this is going to be a lot of headache to do. So don't do it, guys. Pay for the membership. I would say I've been paying also for the yearly one. I got discount. It saves me so much headache. I don't want to deal with hosting or deploying something to the cloud. And also something about local LLMs. To be compliant, you don't need local LLMs. Just very few applications with like high risk industries like finance or healthcare. You might want or get a requirement where I want local LLM, I want like full control over the data. I don't want to send it to anybody. I don't have the rights to send it to anybody but me. I'm the only data controller. Then yeah, LLM makes sense, but then you are changing quality for safety, basically. So how can you do like a local LLM? Let me just show you. Like also, let me show you how easy it is to create an AI agent. So after you create an agent, here you can create the LLM, so the brain behind this whole thing. And you can create here the Olama chat model and then host it yourself. There's a lot of people, really good people, posted some really interesting videos how to make this, and yeah, maybe check them out. I can also create one in the future if you're interested. But basically you can host like an open source model like the llama from Facebook or whatever other models you want. You can host it, you can have full control over the data, you have full data privacy. But then you need to make sure that it's secure. So data privacy doesn't mean data security, so you need to make sure the whole solution is also secure. um, the maybe I can mention it here. So the other trick, if you don't want to send your data to ChatGPT, which is not compliant, it's outside the US, you can create here an Azure deployment. This would require more setup. If you're interested, let me know. I can also create a future video. But it would give you a you need to create like an Azure account, a deployment that is in Europe zone, and then this would make the data only processed in Europe. So you are compliant and you can use OpenAI models. And this thing seems to be people don't know for some reason. I don't know. I mean, it's common practice in enterprise applications that you can do these things. But yeah, it requires more setup. And if you need to be a little bit more secure, you need to maybe also write some contracts with Azure or something like this, but it's free of charge and very basic. So if you're interested about this topic, let me know. I can dig deeper into this, but this is what I usually do to my clients. I create an Azure deployment for them, especially if they are like European based, and we spin it up, we control it all, like we abstract the whole knowledge. So of course, if you go to a non-tech savvy, I don't know, a restaurant, and you tell them you need to create an Azure deployment, they kind of say no. So guys, you need to make sure abstract all the technical things as much as possible. Maybe in this example, I can just show you how quickly it is to create like a AI agent that maybe does a certain thing. As you see here, you have like a very big choice on LLMs. So let's say we pick up the GPT 40 mini, which is like a very good model to do like a lot of stuff. You can create here a memory that remembers like the 5 last interactions maybe, and you can connect it to different tools. For example, a very common tool is Google Calendar. So Google Calendar tool, you can create events. You can, let's say get many, and you can create your calendar. So holidays in Germany, for example. All right, from the date from now to so after and before, you can specify the dates. You can also ask the model to specify this, so you don't need to say it yourself. Limit how many events to return. And that's basically it. What you need to do, of course, to authenticate. So you need to authenticate your Google account. It usually happens really quick. Just sign it with Google, and that's it. That's why people are in love with these tools. It's so quick and easy to build things. Now, of course, you need to tell the model what it needs to do. So system prompt is usually something that identify the identity of the AI agent. You tell it, oh, you're a booking assistant, or I don't know, like let's say you're a helpful assistant that tells me with joy when are there holidays in German. make it sound funny. I don't know. Let's see if that will work. You can basically play around, do whatever you want. Make sure to save every once in a while so you don't run into trouble. But here, actually, let me show you a really cool tool that came out. If you don't have it here, you need to upgrade your deployment. I can also show you how to upgrade it. This is something I didn't know. And then I was seeing like tools like here, the MCP client tool. I've been seeing like the thinking tool. And I was like, wow, I don't have access to them. How are people making videos about them? And it turned out like here in the upgrade, so you see, you need to upgrade your N8n deployment. It's 1 week ago. Don't update it too often. It could be that, with rolling out new software, there might be some bugs. Usually there's a stable version that you can always update to. But then, yeah, make sure to update frequently, especially if you see like a really good stuff that came out. Well, maybe I can show you quickly how to update. Not here, the admin portal. So you need to go to the admin portal and you need to, where was it here? Yeah. So here you go to the N8n version. So you see the last beta and last stable. Always go for last stable, especially if you have something in production. And you have here your time zone. Also make sure this is correct. It takes some time. So sometimes also if you have a production workflows. So if you have a workflow that is in here, like it is active, this might be disturbed, huh? So be careful. If you have stuff for your clients, maybe tell them we need to update. I haven't checked it out, so make sure you don't have downtime. But yeah, all these kind of small details, this is very important, guys, when you sell stuff. All these small details. Let's test it. Let's have a look and say, hey, when do we have vacations? In, what are we, May? In the next month. So what it does, it goes, we get the chat message, and then the AI agent is trying to think, and then it decided, okay, I'm gonna look into the calendar, and it didn't use the thinking for some reason. So maybe it wasn't too much to think about. But sometimes you see it also writing here notes and doing something very specific with the memory. Okay, let's see what it says. Get ready, unleash parties. Oh my god, this is cringe. Okay, but yeah, we have All Saints Day, November the 1st. Interesting. Saint Martin Day, November the 11th. Oh, November, we have so many. Sunday the Dead. Okay. This is not good. I want holidays to take days off. So you see, this is like, for example, you didn't like this, so you need to add it. Obviously, you don't want to say it every time, but you want to add it to the system prompt. This is how the iteration works. It's like, okay, only show me holidays that are that lies within a working day, because this is what is important. If a holiday is on a Sunday, I don't care. It's already a holiday. So this is the interesting thing. So regional holiday, All Saints Day, November the 1st. If you are in Baden-Württemberg. Oh, okay. So you see, now you say like, okay, show me only in Berlin, and so on and so forth, until you're happy with the results and it's reliable enough that it generates the things you want. All right, so that's basically it. This is why I think N8n is just crushing all the other tools out there and doing just an amazing job, and why people are actually seeing these things and saying, oh, I can sell this for, I don't know, like 1,000 or 5,000, whatever the use case is. But I'm going to show you also in the future some more examples of how that might be a false thing to advertise. These tools are super helpful, right? So you saw it's super easy to build. It's super powerful as well. The thing is, you need way more skills than just clicking this and that. Like you saw, it took 2 minutes. So how can you justify something that costs 1,000 just for the sake of 2 minutes? You can justify it by adding all the work, all the education, all the onboarding. You guys who are watching these you're tech savvy. You know your things. You know your deal. So you expect everybody. Yeah, everybody knows about N8n. No, like also I know a lot of people who are working in data science, in AI development. They haven't used N8n because they're not on YouTube checking out N8n tutorials. So you have the advantage that you have this knowledge. Now you need to simplify it for your clients. You need to build trust. So make sure always there's like a human in the loop approach that you can just, as you saw here, like if somebody sees this and they're not happy, you need to also iterate on it to make it very customized for each client. That's why the work you can then charge 1,000 because it's taken you, I don't know, 10, 20 hours to build these things. And then if you charge depending on your hourly rate, then it makes sense. It's not as a copy paste as all these people are promising you, because you're copying and pasting garbage. You need to make sure that is very well fitted to your clients, very well fitted to your own use case. Otherwise, this thing wouldn't make sense. Might as well just go to ChatGPT and use ChatGPT. I hope that helped. Please let me know in the comments, what is your thoughts? How are you using N8n? And what kind of contents would you like to see next? What I had for visions for this channel is to show you what I've been building, basically what things actually sold, what pain points I've identified in different businesses. I've been solely focusing on small businesses like wedding venues, restaurants, event managements, dentists. I think everybody in this community is just hammering on these kind of businesses. Bless them. I'm going to show you what actually works, what kind of feedback we've been receiving from just interviewing a lot of people, showing them these kind of things, doing a lot of demos. So really showing you the work that I think nobody else is showing you, and just being so transparent with you. And I don't want you to waste your time on something that doesn't work. So stay in tune, and thank you so much for listening.